Hey guys, it's been a minute, right? I'm very reflective today. And I wanted to just kind of share a little bit about things that have really been speaking to my heart lately. I used to think that life was something that happened to me. Now, I truly believe that life is always trying to happen through me. That realization alone, it shattered more glass ceilings than any achievement ever could. For most of my life, I was searching. I was searching for answers, for certainty, for belonging, for permission. I was searching for someone, somewhere to finally choose me, a career, a partner, a title, community, a version of success that would finally prove that I was enough. What I didn't realize was that the search was built on a false premise, and I was never waiting to be chosen. I already was. The only person who hadn't realized it was me. And maybe that's the great illusion. We all arrived, here to transcend that belief that our own worth lives somewhere outside of us is crazy. The belief that someone else holds the key to unlock our own abundance. The belief that life is happening to us instead of responding through us. For years, I thought that freedom would come from controlling the right variables, the right relationship or the right income, the right strategy, the right plan, the right timing, the right certainty or feeling. Instead, freedom arrived the moment I started releasing control. Not because I stopped caring, not by any means, but because I stopped gripping so hard. There's a major difference, and sometimes we need that reminder. The harder I tried to force life into the shape I thought it should take, the more resistance I encountered. The more I surrendered, the more life began to just bloom easily, a little garden, And it's not because um, everything became easy. It was not easy by any means, still isn't. But because I stopped fighting reality, I stopped arguing with doors that were closing. And, I stopped worshiping outcomes. I stopped chasing validation. I stopped asking the world for permission to become who I already was. And something extraordinary started to happen. The noise started fading. The voice beneath, you know, it became louder, clearer, more matter of fact, you kind of know what you know when you know it. And that voice, like that call, that immense peace and joy, it's the Holy Spirit. Not the version that I was taught in, growing up in a Catholic church, or the version that was built from fear, do this or else, follow these rules or else, not the version that's built from shame. It was not the version that, obsessed with mistakes and punishment. It was not the version of it, that was demanding perfection before love. The Holy Spirit I encountered was radically different from everything that I had been brought up in, everything that I thought that I understood, um, from everything that was, do this or you're going to hell. I was terrified growing up. I thought that if I made one wrong mistake, I was going to hell. That is what my Catholic religion taught me. It was just like so performative. The Holy Spirit that I encountered gave me goosebumps. It lit me up and made me come alive. It was gentle and patient and expansive, and it was endlessly loving. It was a presence that seemed far more interested in my freedom than my conformity to what the world was telling me to do. And it was a presence that continually asked me, what if everything you believe about yourself is too small? That question right there changed my entire life, because I began realizing for the first time how many invisible prisons I had inherited the stories, the beliefs, the expectations, the rules, the limitations, entire identities. You know, none of them were ever questioned. Most of them just accepted as truth until they weren't. I started seeing that humanity is largely governed by stories about money, stories about relationships, and stories about success, about failure, stories about God, stories about what's possible, and stories about what is impossible. Stories that were repeated so many times that they became indistinguishable from reality. Most people are not defending truth, they're defending familiarity. I know because I did it too. I defended limitations that were hurting me. I defended fears that were shrinking me. I defended identities I had already outgrown. I defended cages and called them safety. And then life, in all its wisdom, began breaking them bar by bar, painfully, so beautifully painfully. It was relentless, one illusion at a time. The greatest revelation wasn't discovering who I was. The greatest revelation was discovering who I wasn't. I wasn't my fear. I wasn't my failures. I wasn't my conditioning. I wasn't the wounds. I wasn't my past. I wasn't the things that my parents told me I had to be or society told me that I had to be. You know, I wasn't the stories other people projected onto me. I wasn't the expectations I spent years trying to satisfy. I wasn't the black sheep. I wasn't the outsider. I wasn't the person waiting to be chosen. I was the light hidden beneath all of it. So is everyone else. That's what changed how I see people. The angry person, the anxious person. I too can be extremely anxious at times and avoidant. And it was the avoidant person, the controlling person, the successful person, the struggling person, the person chasing money, the person afraid of money. It was the person that was chasing love or the person running from love, the person trying to prove themselves, the person trying to disappear because they don't want to be seen. Underneath every single behavior is a soul trying to remember who they are. Underneath every fear is a longing for love. Underneath every mask is light. The world taught me to judge behavior. Catholicism taught me to judge myself ruthlessly and then also judge others, judge their behavior. Life taught me to see souls. And once you start really seeing souls, compassion becomes inevitable. Something else happened, as I continued to walk this path. I stopped seeing darkness as an enemy. I started to see it as an invitation. I started seeing that, darkness cannot survive examination, and darkness survives in concealment. The moment light enters a room, darkness, it doesn't fight it, it disappears. And the same is true within us. Think about that again. The moment light enters a room, darkness disappears. The same thing is true within us. The fears, the shame, the guilt, the self rejection, the unworthiness, the limiting beliefs, they begin dissolving the moment we become willing to look at them through the lens of love, through the eyes of love, not judgment, love. Perhaps that's exactly what awakening is. Not becoming someone new, but remembering who you've been all along, removing everything that isn't, peeling back layer after layer after layer until only truth remains, until only light remains, until only love remains. Today, I'm no longer climbing. I'm no longer believing that life is about climbing to the top of the mountain. My gosh, I've felt that and thought that for so long. I believe that it's about realizing that the mountain was never outside of us, that every ceiling we break was first a belief. that every prison we was first a thought, and every miracle begins with a new perception. Everything changes when we realize that consciousness is creative, faith is creative, words are creative, attention is creative, love is so creative, fear is creative too. We become what we repeatedly agree with. And eventually I had to ask myself, what if, you know, what if the greatest act of faith isn't believing in God? What if it's believing what God believes about me? What if I see myself and see others the way that God does? What if it's trusting the light within is enough to stop apologizing for it? Heaven forbid, right? What if it's having the courage to step beyond every inherited limitation and become living evidence of what's possible? Because that's where the real journey begins. Beyond fear, beyond conformity, beyond performance, beyond the need to fit inside of someone else's story. The Holy Spirit never led me to a cage. Holy Spirit never led me into a cage. He led me into greater freedom, greater responsibility, greater authenticity, greater truth, greater love. And every step in the direction with Holy Spirit required courage. It required unwavering faith. It required me to shed fear because freedom is beautiful, but freedom is also terrifying. Freedom, it removes excuses, it removes our mask, it removes the story, and it asks us to become accountable for our own life, to stop hiding, to stop shrinking, to stop pretending, for waiting for the right divine moment to take action, to stop waiting, to finally become who we already are. So, if my imperfect journey has taught me anything, it's this: you are far more powerful than you've ever been taught. You are far more loved than you've ever been told. You're far more connected than you've ever realized, far more guided than you know. And the life that you're searching for, it's not hiding from you. It is waiting patiently beneath every fear that you've mistaken for truth. The door that you've been waiting for is already open. The light is already there, shining in there, waiting for you. Holy Spirit is already speaking to you. The question is no longer, whether or not you're being called. The question is whether you are finally ready to answer the call, walk through the door. All you have to do is start one action, one step. Nothing is going to hurt you. You are divinely protected. You are divinely guided, and your abundance is waiting for you. So the real question is, what on earth is stopping you? Talk to you guys soon.